show, this collection is sure to make you want to get up and dance.
Nicky, don't lose my number. Might replace pets with someone else. I might. Haven't decided. Support the police, because they work really, really hard. News. It's all fake news. B-I-G-C. That's how you spell Hillary. B-I-G-C. Synonym for Hillary. Welcome to the hole called California. There's a homeless face. Poop all over the place. Lots of poop.
Now that's what I call Trump.
Now that's what I call Trump. It's available in CD and cassette. Call 1-800-MAGA-2020 for details.
Join Mug Club today for $89 annually, or try it mugless for $9 a month. You can sign up at louderwithcredit.com/mugclub for the entire catalog, including Nick DiPaolo, Mr. Guns and Gear, and of course, Alex Jones, along with 100% more of this show.
That's the legal part. So think about it like this: if you ever steal a place, let's say Georgia. You gotta pay a lot of people to use your party.
Glad to be with you. It is, that's the sound of Monday. I'm sorry, but hopefully it's not too bad. Hey, this is, sorry, some of you may be sad. This is the first year in, gosh, almost a decade that we are not doing a Halloween spooktacular. Aww. Because, of course, we have the election live stream of the century next Tuesday, and we'll actually be pre-taping some of the sketches, some of the bits that go in there. We'll, stuff that we can't necessarily fully discuss. So, that's next Tuesday. Gear up. It's time, and I did shave.
You did?
I did shave.
It'll grow back.
Hint, you just saw the foreshadowing with now that's what I call Trump. So, we have a lot to talk about today. Donald Trump's Nazi rally. Don't know if you know this. There was a rally. A lot of Nazis. A lot of Jewish Nazis, a lot of black Nazis, a lot of Jewish black Nazis. Asians. So, they're black Hebrew Israelites. But I can't. It's weird. By the way, none of you can go to heaven because you're white. And also, we're going to go through this because a lot of people are concerned, since you're seeing momentum here, about an election being stolen. We're allowed to talk about that on YouTube now because they're probably preparing to claim that it was stolen and litigate it. Look, it's not just one thing. It's not just the voting machines. It's not just ballot harvesting. There are 5 different tiers of how an election can be stolen, of how a constitutional republic can be subverted. And we're going to go through that today, so hopefully you have some scope as to what it is. And it starts, by the way, with the media and then gets to the ballots and mass mail-in voting. And then we also have Engelbrecht? Engelbrecht on today. We have some exclusive footage from her, the True the Vote of an organizer in Georgia, discussing the last tier of stealing an election.
Not her footage. She's just coming on to announce a bit of a partnership.
Okay.
With us.
Well, thanks for letting me know before the show.
Yeah, we did.
And that and a whole lot more. Let me ask you, what do you think is the most egregious as far as the election interference, stealing an election? Is it the media malpractice? Is it the changing of the laws? Is it the ballot harvesting? There are a lot of steps that are taken. All right, Captain Morgan, number 2 CEO, how are you?
I am doing well. Everybody in my family is sick right now except for me. So maybe I'm the super spreader.
Oh.
I don't know. How are you? You said your back was...
Yeah, it's still not. It was just a combination of things. So, my body's breaking down. I'm just staving off death. That's the best we can do at this point in time. At least until Tuesday. Then it doesn't really make a difference.
Thursday-ish.
When you hear this, you know me love them Saturday and Friday. I don't know why I did it in reverse. November 15th and 16th at JP's Comedy Club in Gilbert, Arizona. Mr. Josh Firestine, how are you?
I'm good. Quit drinking yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. I don't drink that much, but so it's not like a...
What was the catalyst? Did something happen yesterday where you're like, no, I'm not doing this anymore?
No, I was just like, no, I don't want to do this.
Okay.
Just woke up late and was like, man.
Good for you.
I'm not doing this anymore. Once a week, just getting drunk once a week. It's just, what am I doing?
But once a week doesn't sound like that big
I turned 35 in a couple months, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should just cool it, slow down.
Yeah, because he lives life in the fast lane. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Get drunk once a week. And
I think, slow down, man. You're burning the candle at both ends. You ever hear the cautionary tale of one Mr. Dean, first name James?
Oh, boy.
All right.
Yeah, that's me.
AOC and Tim Walz really want to relate to all the youngins today.
So bad.
So, skateboarding is out, but they did play some video games together.
Lots of folks, everywhere I go, when I'm on the road, people are constantly asking me if I'm ready to stream again.
No, they don't.
And I constantly want to.
Show me video.
Kind of the old school guy in this. I started out, I was of the age where Pong was coming online. Like
Online?
I'm first generation gamer.
The Senate has their own things. They have kind of their norms and their customs, but in order...
Maybe some of those norms. I'm just going to say, I don't know where you stand,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing you and I are probably the same on the filibuster. But
yeah, we got to get rid of that thing.
if you're going to draw up a playbook in football, you're going to use it. Those guys drew up a playbook, and it's Project 2025.
And they put
there we go.
millions of dollars into Project 2025. You don't spend millions of dollars without planning.
0-0,
to use
riveting
it.
game.
Oh God, no! And it's all these people around him. And
the end of the first quarter.
About it. He wrote the
Representing New
foreword
York
of
with
the book of the
Buffalo.
architect.
He wrote the forward of the book of the architect of Project 2025. Not Project 2025, the book, by the way.
No, but
he wrote the forward of a book of a guy who wrote,
Knew a guy.
along with many other writers, Project 2025. Therefore, Donald Trump is Mangala.
Why is AOC playing with the Buffalo Bills? Isn't she from the city? They have two teams for crying out loud.
Choose either one.
They have two.
They both suck right now.
Well,
so
that's
it's
why
fine.
she's
A lot of Puerto Ricans in Buffalo.
Oh,
yes, that's what
They
I've
have a
heard.
real problem with the Sharks.
They love the waterfall.
Yeah, they love the lake effect snow all year round.
Send some jets to Buffalo.
No.
It was the first team she could find with New York. And
There's a B.
in alphabetical order. It's the first one.
She's looking for Syracuse.
Okay.
Hey, if you're Generation Z, did this work for you? Comment below. See, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about authenticity. Donald Trump, they'd be like, hey, we think it would be really good if you Twitch. Like, don't play video games, it's a waste of time.
Exactly.
Look, most people who do that are serial masturbators, premature ejaculators who have no hope with a real lady. Wouldn't do it. Unless it's Doom.
No.
That's his Doom. He does love Doom and Minecraft.
Yes, he does love
Yes.
and Duke Nukem. I like shooting strippers. He is what he is. He's not out there going, look, I'm playing video games. Tim Walz is like, oh yeah, I do this all the time. You guys remember Pong?
No, Tim, we don't.
How about Galaga? Snake?
Barely.
I was quite the ticket with Frogger.
Meanwhile, the clock's ticking down to 0 for his fourth delay of game penalty. Score 0-0.
He said Pong went online. No, it didn't.
Online.
It
Online.
didn't.
Well, I did on my phone.
I must have my dates mixed up.
I did on my phone.
It was a grammar mistake.
I'm such a knucklehead.
That's an Atari game, you dumb.
I played it on my phone. I had to back then with the keypad. The 6 was up and the 4 was down, and I'd have to do this.
Oh no, it's not. None of this happened.
I heard he's actually going to be in Wreck-It Ralph 3.
Yes.
That's proof.
He just shuts down the entire game. And that's enough. There's not enough representation. Something.
Played Pong in Tiananmen Square.
Yes.
He would have lost.
And by the way, it's just pandering. I mean, AOC even had a commercial break just to plug her newest celebrity endorsement.
Howdy. Well, howdy ho! It's your friend Colonel Slanders again. And I'd like to take a minute of your time, talk about my dear friend Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. God dang, they still let them folks in here? Ocasio-Cortez, who's getting all these Republicans in a hissy fit. They say she's always pointing her freakishly long fingers at someone else to blame, which is despicable. Okay? They say her big eyes and her big teeth make her look crazy. Shameful. But they're barking up the wrong tree. Because what they don't know is that God gave her big eyes so she could see the future. Big teeth so she could take a bite out of this delicious chicken. Can we do that one again? Big teeth so she can take a bite out of corruption. And long fingers for, well, long licking. AOC, she's finger licking good.
This ad's paid for by the Colonels for Harris Family Pack Bucket. Oh, it's just a regular pack?
Yeah, I don't think that's the same endorsement that she thought.
No, I think she's looking for more of a joyous.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. We'll put that into the maybe category along with online Pong.
An old school Democrat.
And this is look, they're gearing up. They know that they are not doing well. This is why we are gearing up. Stop the steal. Make sure nothing happens in darkness. Tuesday, November 5th. We start, by the way, the official time. First time we're announcing it live, 6 p.m. Eastern. The election live stream of the century, Rumble on Rumble. You can watch on YouTube. I bet you will probably be suspended. We have boots on the ground in key states, key cities in those swing states. We have the electoral integrity map that you can follow along with where we dispute states. We will be calling some states, and you can click a window right there. If something is going on, like, I don't know, a pipe bursting in Georgia, click it, investigate it. We will give you everything you need to know. And look, it's a big undertaking. We're not stopping until the election is called.
What?
Yep.
But Arizona said 10 to 13 days.
It may not matter, man.
Okay.
It may not matter. It may not matter if some others get called pretty early.
Okay.
Pretty early this election. What are your long shot bets? What do you have as a dark horse? Is it New Hampshire? Is it Virginia? I think that a lot of people have those.
New Mexico for me.
Mexico? Yeah.
New Mexico.
I think so.
Not the OG. New Mexico. I think that's going to flip red.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're just hoping your bet pays off.
I am. I'm trying to manifest something, okay?
All right. We'll have to figure out what the shame is. We all have to make a long shot bet and some embarrassing.
Really?
Yeah, we all have to take on an embarrassing.
Well, hold on.
Embarrassing
Who has to go first because
a stunt on election night. So he called New Mexico. You call.
I have no idea.
New Hampshire.
No, I did.
And you know what? My long shot, Texas. So I may not have to. I'm just saying. If he wins Texas, I'm safe. If I think I'm hearing it's purple.
That's not how.
So I'm saying Kamala's going to win Texas. If she doesn't win Texas, then I don't have to do a stunt. You have to do a stunt if he loses New Hampshire. Let's go on to the Nazi rally.
Trump grabs Virginia.
He made his case, President Donald Trump, to New York voters. Huge rally, and of course the media reaction is very predictable, but in case you have missed it, Madison Square Garden.
Please welcome our next Commander-in-Chief, my husband, President Donald J. Trump.
They accidentally play the Russian anthem.
And then we have all of the people that could fill it up 10 times. You take a look at outside what's going on all the way down to the river. The beautiful, beautiful Hudson River. They're outside watching this now.
From the river to MSG.
Nobody's ever seen before. They've never had
MAGA
it.
shall be
and
free.
I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
The face that he makes, he's like...
I'm really glad the audience was very interactive, because if they didn't answer that, if they're like...
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, no.
No, boo.
That wouldn't go well. But there was a lot going on, and of course the media right away has gone to Nazis. This was a Nazi rally.
Because the last thing that happened there was 1939, apparently, and we'll get to that.
Yes.
Seriously?
And, the Nazis had a lot of celebrity speakers as well, like Elon Musk, Donald Trump Jr., and one Hulk Hogan.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA.
He's proven to be the strong leader allies and adversaries alike must respect. He's proven he loves this country so much, he's literally put his life on the line for it.
You line up like you're the third monkey on line for the Ark and it's starting to rain. You guys are awesome. Honestly, this is like...
It's a real banger, Don.
You know something, Trump maniacs? I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here.
It was a lot of... I will say this. I hate seeing my childhood hero getting older.
I know.
Hulk Hogan.
His biceps still look so good, though. When he moves his arm, it's like...
Yeah, but it's no longer a gimmick. He's doing commercials for hearing aids with...
Yeah. I couldn't hear that speaking to my good ear. What? No, really, brother, I'm hard of hearing. Miracle Ear.
Yes.
Brought to you by Hulkamania. I need one of those phones with the big keypads, brother. Yes. Build a vein. Do that reverse mortgage, brother.
Yeah. But this is, you know what? Look, it's fun. It's more fun than online Pong that was being played
by one person.
But not to be outdone by Hulk Hogan, the hologram of Macho Man Randy Savage actually sent a stark message from beyond the grave.
As election season heats up, the Biden-Harris administration's policy on China is coming right to the forefront of political discourse.
Yeah, I tell you, that's at the forefront. You know what it's time to do, me and Firestine? Yeah, it's time to Chinese take out the policy of the Biden-Harris administration, shipping jobs off to China, making sure that American men give me that American manufacturing. You see that right there? Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, whoa, Macho Man.
You can't fix it.
There's kids watching Macho Man.
Cheap plastic, no. And I don't want cheap plastic. Americans want better than cheap plastic. They want American jobs. And they don't want to be told by no foreign nation, no, how they're going to run their economy and how they're going to compete on the international, the world stage where one man, Donald Trump, is the man who actually took apart that paper tiger. And he's going to do it. He's going to do it again, Firestine. That's the beautiful thing.
That reminds me, you're going to defend your international championship?
It doesn't matter what I'll be defending because on November 5th, Donald Trump, the Don's, gonna defend his title as President of the United States when they're playing Hail to the Chief for the Don, Come Alive. And former Vice President Biden will be listening to Goodbye.
This didn't make any sense.
He's dead for a reason.
I think Macho Man meant to say,
I don't even know what that means. What are you talking about?
Racist Chinese song. Now.
Oh, okay.
What? Of course, it was a lot of fun, the rally. And here's where we are. Do you think this is working anymore? Genuinely, comment below. You scream Nazi, so you're the little boy who cried Nazi.
Sometimes they're real.
But they said this was all a clever ploy. It was a clever, almost covert, to celebrate Nazism.
You see it there on your screen. In that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist
Colors aren't even
leader,
the same.
Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally.
You'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. It may be a leap for some people, and a lot of others may think, I don't want to go there. I don't want to say that. But please, open your eyes to the danger that this man poses to our country, because I think it is clear and present for anybody paying attention.
Trump's got this big rally going at Madison Square Garden. There's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden.
Late 30s. 39.
And I don't think that he doesn't know for 1 second exactly what they're doing there.
When Donald Trump decided that he was going to have a rally and have an event in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the same site that is a remembrance for the Tulsa race riots, he knew what he was doing then, just like he knows what he's doing in Madison Square Garden.
The only Democratic strategist who uses the live Jackson filter. I was trying to think of the worst Jackson, so I just went with the last name. Janet, I guess. Hey, so Hitler held a rally at Madison Square Garden at one point in time. I know, but that's what they said.
Yes.
No, they said Adolf Hitler.
They said Nazis.
For Adolf Hitler. So let me be, okay. And by the way, that may be true. But to say that because there were some Nazis once at Madison Square Garden, therefore Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing with a parallel. Okay? All right. That is sound logic. Okay? I took humanities in college too. The only problem is other people, not only athletic events, not only plays, not only singers, but even politicians have hosted rallies there like FDR, JFK, Richard Nixon, LBJ, Jimmy Carter, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton. Okay. But but only the Nazi one, so it's a direct parallel if you skip all of the other complete non-parallels. I don't know if you know this, but the Nazis have done a lot of things. I bet you they use pens. They eat soup, but I like soup.
You do?
Yeah.
Sometimes I like a good bisque, And
forget about it.
Also, I bet you Nazis drank warm beverages. So it's time for reenacting Hitler.
Why is it me?
There's Nazis in that cup.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. I don't mind it. That's a love song.
Yes.
It is. It is.
Well, it is.
If
You're performing in Madison Square Garden. So let's go.
We forgot one. The Lesser Godzilla laid his eggs in Madison Square Garden as well.
Who?
The Lesser Godzilla. The Godzilla with what's his name? The one that sucked? Matthew Broderick?
Nerd alert!
I was in the garden, guys. I'm not the only one that knows this, right?
Do I have to restart the segment because you choose to ruin it?
You made me to be Hitler.
I was drinking coffee too.
No, I'm talking.
We all drank coffee. Therefore, we are all Hitler.
I was drinking coffee.
You at home.
I'm Hitler.
Hey, all you Mud Club Hitlers. I see you. We can do better. We expect better of ourselves. Puh. I spit in the no more warm beverages because you know what? Hey, if any Nazi did it, that's enough for me.
I'm also a failed,
not for me.
I'm also a failed artist, so
it's true.
Double down on it for me.
Yeah. Also, you did a bunch of heroin and speed. So
really committed to the role.
That's not true. Actually, I don't do that.
No, they gave him drinking, not heroin and speed. Come on.
But let's go through this. All of the Nazis at the rally. I don't know if you know this, but there were a lot of. And these are the worst kinds of Nazis because you wouldn't expect them to be Nazis, which is just what they want you to think. All those Jew Nazis. Himmler! Ugh.
Get him!
I hate Nazis.
Yeah, you know,
but I don't mind Jews.
There was one Jew at the 1939 rally. They literally beat him and stripped him naked, and he was charged for disturbing the peace.
That's just what they want you to think.
I'm not kidding.
He was a psyop who could take a punch.
I don't think so.
And by the way,
yes, very
the Nazi reign is not, their reach in the Republican Party, in the MAGA movement, is not limited just to the Jews. Although that's their starting point, the Nazis.
Well,
they're the easiest pawns for Nazism, the Jews. They also used those Dominican Nazis.
Hey, we heard that Nazis were supposed to be here. That's what Hillary Clinton said, so we out here to see. Have you seen a Nazi today?
We are the Nazi party.
I'm white, though. I'm the
Nazi right here, yes.
Yeah.
Dominican Nazi.
Dominican Nazi. Latina Nazi. We got...
Oh, I'm the black Nazi.
Black
Nazi. It's too many Nazis for this. Too early in the morning for this amount of Nazis. They also had a lot of them Asian/Chinese Nazis.
All the hair China. China is a #1.
Okay.
So disturbing.
We don't need you, Chinese Hitler. Chinese Hitler, get out of here. Even though he also is a Nazi. But this is another Chinese American Nazi.
You heard it right here, folks. 2024, folks.
Chinese, we're Chinese first generation. We love Trump from our bottom of the heart because we know Trump is the only one can save America. Kamala is so stupid. She is so low IQ, equal, no qualification to be the president. You shall stay away from that position. You already lost the position. You lost our trust. You lost our vote. You just need to go home, to stay home. You cannot do anything to save America. You are so stupid. You don't know anything. You cannot even answer any question from the camera, from all the media.
And by the way, just so you know, with a Chinese American, calling you stupid is the worst insult they can call you. They very much value education. Like that is at least like their equivalent to like sucker. They can just.
I mean, she's the expert.
She went on for 4 minutes.
She
rules.
Yes. That is their nuke. Is stupid.
Yes.
I sleep with your mother. You stupid. No, I doctor. You bad doctor. Stupid doctor. I will go to you even if I have cold. Sneeze. No go to you. Oh, too far.
That lady rules. I want to play Pai Gow with her.
Yes. I want to play online Pong with her.
Yeah, well, you can't.
But here's the thing. If this is, they're Nazis, they're aggressive. So I think that woman should be a speaker at the next RNC. But to get that spot, well, it's down to her and this guy. They must fight to the death.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Well spoken. But I say you stupid. No!
Just start fighting.
So let's see. We got the Jewish Nazis. We got the Dominican Nazis.
Yes.
We've got the Chinese American Nazis. A lot of Nazis.
Yeah.
A lot of Nazis.
Latina Nazis don't, or nobody said Latinx, so thankfully.
Right. Well, they don't
wouldn't have
because
done that
they
at this
hate it.
rally.
They actually think it's racist.
They do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I won't lie. Latinos can definitely be racist, but that doesn't make them Nazis.
I heard they were having a hard time picking which group to hate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We're all going back and
Hate
forth.
all of them equally, I think. It's about right.
Pretty much.
Who are we supposed to hate again?
Including other Hispanics.
Yes.
Then the Cubans came in and just took all their jobs.
Well,
and now we also have those comedian Nazis.
Oh no!
Because you probably know him from Joe Rogan or Kill Tony. Tony Hinchcliffe, comedian, made a joke about Puerto Rico. And we're going to compare it to a joke that was made there with Kamal by George Lopez. I almost said Mario Lopez. That would make no sense.
Wouldn't know.
Guy wouldn't know a joke if it Botoxed him in the forehead. Tony Hinchcliffe made a joke about Puerto Rico, and of course, this also means something Nazi.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. No, yeah, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
The second part was funny. The first part, everybody's kind of like, what do we do? It's an election year.
Which is a good clip because they hate the joke, but the media will hate the joke, but then you hear the crowd and they go, oh. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, a rally full of Nazis would have been cheering.
Yeah, exactly.
We hate that place.
Yeah. They would have thought it was too soft.
Yeah.
Garbage. DePaulo would have lost his shit.
Oh my God. What is this, PBS? Go yourself.
It would have just been a roast for another hour after that.
He'd be like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that all of you wanted to be stabbed after the show. You want to go back to New York in the 1970s? Puerto Ricans? Shut up.
Excuse me, Trump, you're going to have to wait a minute.
You have to wait, Donald. I'm going to warm them up for you. You? What are you? You're Dominican? You look like a smashed bat in a tuxedo, right? Still want him as president. So the left had an absolute meltdown, of course, because I don't know if you know this, there was also, once upon a time, a Nazi who did stand-up. So that's why.
There was?
Yeah, it was Adolf Hitler.
No, that's not true.
How many Jews does it take to screw in a light bulb?
He got kicked out of joke school.
Yeah,
too.
well,
Clown college.
By a Jewish person, so there's the origin.
I don't understand why the chicken would cross the road to get to the other side. There has to be another motivation.
Because he hates the Jews.
What are you doing with Mike? That's not even a joke.
Knock, knock, who's there? It's me. Get out and die.
Knock, knock, who's that? Juden!
Very scary.
Hitler is bad.
By the way, there's like the media is covering this nonstop. By the way, it's not just a few articles or things on X. Like people are covering this right now, literally. Trump rally speaker, Puerto Rico, a floating island of garbage.
I'm just here.
They're running with
Even
this,
though it technically is an island and it is riddled with garbage.
Outside of the very nice like fenced in areas for tourists, yes, every Puerto Rican would probably be like, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, here's the thing too. It was not Kamala Harris. It was at a Tim Walz rally. Which seems like a really bad place for someone to do comedy. Like with Donald Trump, you get it at least. Right. You understand the guy basically does stand up. He likes to work the crowd. At a Tim Walz rally, George Lopez made this exact joke about Mexicans and stealing.
Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall.
What?
And George Lopez said, you better build it in one day because if you leave that material out there overnight.
Like Bruce Valanche.
There you go. Oh, okay. Mexicans are thieves. Mexicans, I hope you hear that. Hope you're voting.
I misspoke, by the way. That was not George. That was Encino Lopez.
After 40 years being frozen. The troll here is making a comeback for people. Yeah.
Rip Van Lopez. I'm taking a nap. I was sleeping, bro.
Why'd they get Sideshow Bob to do a speech? So weird.
And by the way, I'm offended 0%. I know what you'll say. I'm a white guy. Oh, okay, that's probably true. You know who else is not offended? Mexicans. You know who else is likely not very offended? Puerto Ricans. Just shut up. Just shut up and move on with the show at this point so Democrats can try and start stealing this election, okay? They're losing. The left knows they're losing. And like I said, it's lie, cheat. The lies aren't working anymore. You can comment below. I think it backfires. I don't think that people will see this clip. They have it right now on CNN. Bring it up right now. I don't think that people watch that and say, oh yeah, this is clearly Nazism there. This is completely out of line. And you know, it also shows how out of touch they are. Playing Pong on their Twitch stream, AOC and Tim Walz. They don't realize that a lot of young people understand the difference between a politician and a comedian, especially a comedian they recognize.
Yes.
Yeah, what they don't realize is this is going to be great for Tony.
Right.
This is going to be fantastic for him.
Yeah.
Great coverage.
You know, it's because you know who the Nazis really cared about. I know everybody thinks that the Puerto Ricans.
Yes.
Come on. Like, seriously, the furthest thing from their freaking minds.
Yes, that's not true. They have the olive skin. J-Lo.
Shut.
You could put a glass on that ass shelf. Curly straw. Beautiful myth and
stop talking about yourself.
Morphine.
That's true. You are just, there is some Puerto Rican in you, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Ricky Martin? Am I he?
Living
No, he became Captain Puerto Rico.
Yes, he did.
Same outfit.
An AIDS patient as well, allegedly.
It is not good to be Captain Puerto Rico. You're very geographically limited.
Yeah, but you get everywhere fast.
It's true. All right. Which, by the way, hey, and none of this happens without you. We're going to get into right now 5 ways to rig an election. The way that stealing happens. It's not just voter fraud. It's not ballot harvesting. I mean, it may be those two. But if you focus on one component, that's where the left can say, see, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. We're going to go through the 5 tiers, the 5 different steps, sort of these fail-safes that the left has to try and alter the course of American history. And hopefully it's helpful. All references are available. Link in the description. We make all of them public to you. None of this happens without you. November 5th, the Rumble on Rumble, the election live stream of the century. We start 6 p.m. Eastern. Join Mug Club. Click that button. It's $89 annually. Or just go mugless between now and election for $9 a month. That's a new offer. But we can't ship you the mug because we would lose money for like 2 months.
For a while.
So let's get to this. How does the left, when we talk about stealing an election, when we talk about basically subverting a constitutional republic, I won't use the word democracy because it's misused and the people who use it are very often dumb. So there are 5 ways that it happens. Let's go through how this can alter the course of American history, change an election, change people's minds, and not with valid information. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind when new information is made available. There is something wrong with changing people's minds deliberately through the pumping of misinformation all the time, which brings us to tier number 1. This is the first way that they steal a nation. Media malpractice. It'd be one thing to just complain about it, but it's another to actually have numbers. Okay, so you've seen this. You all know about the big tech censorship. But what does that include? That includes Donald Trump's ads being blocked. That includes Trump supporters overwhelmingly being suspended on social media versus Biden supporters, including yours truly. This channel, the biggest election stream of all time in 2020, suspended for the election stream in 2022. Demonetized so that you cannot see the biggest conservative channel that has existed. And it happens across all social media platforms. That's why Zuckerberg apologized for it. That's why Elon Musk has released some of the Twitter files. That's why we have filed so many suits as we have. You can also look at the manipulation specifically from Google. Dr. Robert Epstein's, his study was, I believe it was called the search engine manipulation effect. You can go and read his paper. He has some data there that is more detailed than you could read in a lifetime. And he explained on this show how Google can tilt a 50-50 race very, very quantifiably to 90-10.
We've shown in experiments that just by manipulating those search suggestions they're flashing at you, we can turn a 50-50 split among undecided voters into a 90-10 split with no one having the slightest idea that has occurred.
Wow.
So this is all just one tier, by the way. This is just one tier. The algorithm manipulations, the banning of ads, the promoting of other ads, the tilting of individual political races. Let's get to another very clear example. Under this same tier, the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? The one that was buried. The one that would have changed the last election, assuming that you believe everything was 100% legitimate. Just this story being buried, just this story being declared to the American public by 51 former intelligence officials as Russian disinformation. Just this story being buried on social media so that people didn't have access to it. We know that 17% of Biden voters would have changed their votes had they known about the laptop. That's enough to change Georgia. That's enough to change Arizona. That's enough to change, I believe, Pennsylvania as well. We've gone through those numbers. Yes, Gerald.
It's basically, too, don't think of it like as bad pictures of Hunter Biden or something like that. It's the FBI investigation into Biden and his dealings with foreign entities. That was all said, hey, no, that's all just looped in with pictures of him doing coke and having mini M&Ms on his dong or something like that. No. There was FBI. He used mini M&Ms, of course. Those are not the peanut M&Ms.
Right.
It's definitely about Hunter Biden's connection to his father and their connection to overseas dealings.
Yes.
That would have changed it.
And by the way, we were integral in this because we were experiencing it in real time. The first time Hunter Biden's laptop was ever shown to the world was on this very show, and I didn't know that it was going to happen. Have you seen the pictures?
This guy.
Have you seen the pictures of him with the crack pipe?
John Wright, I have.
Oh, wow. Does he at least look like cool?
Unfortunately, I can't show them to you right now, but this is the hard drive they're on.
Oh,
right
my
there.
gosh. Oh, my word. I know you're thinking, hey, that wasn't enough zeal in that reaction. I couldn't see. I was looking at a little monitor. I thought, he had like a makeshift, like a mock-up laptop. I didn't realize that was the actual
one of 3
laptop.
or 4 apparently that were floating around.
You're darn right it is.
You don't look. This is the laptop. I've seen the M&M Minis right next to his clock.
Darn right it did.
It says minis.
I didn't know you could smoke drywall in the nude, but apparently that's what it seems like a fire hazard. So tier 1, all of that media malpractice. Please check the references. That's enough to change the election. Okay. Tier 2. You combine this with the media malpractice, weaponizing the justice system, right? And we have seen this many civil and criminal cases against Donald Trump with the express purpose of prohibiting him from running for office.
The former president of the United States, now a convicted felon, having been found guilty of 34 felony charges by a jury.
Just moments ago, the special counsel's office announced the former president will face new charges.
Breaking news, a New York jury has found the Trump Organization guilty.
A federal grand jury has voted to indict former President Trump in the January 6th investigation.
We got to lock him up.
And we showed you, we of course did the Mug Club Undercover with the spokesperson of the DOJ saying they're just stacking anything that they can. These are the kinds of, these have never been prosecuted before. It's because they don't want Donald Trump to be able to run for president. Again, the man who would win the election today, and when these cases started, when these suits started, they are trying to render ineligible even though they know it's bogus. You also have not just Donald Trump, but for example, the Biden administration raiding journalists. Remember James O'Keefe? They raided his house. Remember they said that Ashley Biden's diary was illegitimate as well. They raided his house. And then later in the dead of night, they said, by the way, it turns out it's an actual thing. They've been throwing Donald Trump's supporters in jail, right? Over 1,400 people from January 6th. 500 of them were jailed. I believe it was 1,400 were charged. Yeah. A lot of them did nothing more than trespass. Some of them didn't even trespass, by the way. Some of them were invited in. You have Navarro. You have Bannon jailed for contempt of Congress. You have Manafort, who was jailed for things that happened years before Donald Trump's presidency. You've had threats of jail for many supporters, and so they've had to turn on Donald Trump. The message has been very, very clear that's been sent from the Democrat Party and this administration. If you work for Donald Trump or if you are associated with him, we will jail you. So you have the media malpractice, which also echoes, right? They echo the false narrative of Donald Trump being a felon. They echo the narrative of discrediting people like James O'Keefe, us as well. Malcolm Undercover, these people have no ethics. And at that same time, the world's most powerful intelligence agencies are silencing investigative journalists behind the scenes and anyone who supports Donald Trump. So you have media malpractice. That's number 1. It's enough. The weaponizing of the DOJ. That's enough. That changes swing states. Let's get to tier number 3. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Changing election laws. So before we get to the votes, before we get to the ballot harvesting, before we get to potential direct fraud, changing the laws of how elections are conducted in this country in a way that is unprecedented. For example, Pennsylvania violated state constitution by changing their election laws. It, by the way, was permitted by Democrat judges. And to be clear, it was acknowledged that this was in violation of their state constitution. But then they said it's moot because the election was held anyway. Yep. So the misdeed is committed. Well, you can't stop it because we don't know if this could actually encourage fraud. We haven't experienced it yet. And then when you say this has happened, yeah, but it's a moot point now because the election's already been done. There's nothing you can do about it. You look at not only Pennsylvania's a very clear example, but nationwide. You had expanded mass mail-in voting. You had drop boxes. You have 14 states that do not require any voter ID at polls. 24 states, by the way, offer exceptions to their voter ID laws. Many of these states, you can vote with an ID that doesn't require any proof of citizenship when you get that ID, so you might as well not need voter ID. But you have 14 states, no voter ID whatsoever because something, racism. Then you have direct attempts to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. You had that in Colorado, Illinois, Maine. So we've gone through 3 tiers. You have media malpractice, you have the weaponizing of the DOJ, you have changing of election laws. Okay, now that
don't forget fighting every voter ID law that comes up to Congress. Right. Dems fighting to make sure that you have to do that. In other states where you just have to check a box that says I'm a U.S. citizen. Right. And they count that as some kind of a guard against it.
Promise?
Yes.
By the way, Toolman, are we going in descending order or ascending? I was going 5, 4, 3, 2. Are we going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay.
We're on number 4.
No, you did it right.
All right. Good. Then I got it. Okay. We're on number 4.
Yeah.
I always forget if we're going in ascending or descending.
4. Ha!
Good news is you don't have to trust this dummy. Just go check the references. We make those available every time. So number 4, this tier, is now you're dealing with errors that are unresolvable and maybe might be a one-off, but if you have enough of these one-off malfunctions, it affects the election. Let me give you some examples right here. 2022, what happened in Maricopa County? Oh, voting machines malfunctioned on election day where people had to wait for hours. I don't know if you know this. If you work for a living, you take a few hours off in the first half of the day, you go back in the second. Well, you're not able to maybe go back, especially if the voting precincts are all in one area, meaning politically red areas or blue areas. It never happens in blue areas. It happens in red areas.
Yeah.
Hey, that affects it. Michigan, 500,000 more people on the voter rolls than there are eligible voters. Those will be on the voter rolls. So these are malfunctions. These are errors that cannot be corrected. Right? Let's think about that. So 500,000 more people on the voter rolls than actually could vote in Michigan. And by the way, quite a lively bunch. Isn't that right? Let's go to
said.
He voted.
A man speaks few words, but they mean something.
That's Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
He's voting in an hour.
2024 in Virginia, right? They have now been officially, this happened Friday, I believe, evening. They're prohibited from removing 1,600 ineligible non-citizens from voter rolls.
We covered that story. It was the most benign thing ever. They had opportunities to cure it. They could show up same day and register to vote.
Right.
But they were like, no, let's just keep 1,600 people on here who cannot vote in this state, in this nation. What?
So
how do they justify that?
What do you mean? They don't need to justify.
They have to. We're a land. We should be a land where you have to justify how you do this. Otherwise, people start taking things into their own hands, and that's not a good idea.
You got too into that Nazi drinking coffee bit because I don't like what I'm seeing, Gerald.
9!
So we're going through this, right? Just think of it as kind of a reverse pyramid. The one that affects more people, you have the media malpractice, you have the weaponizing of the DOJ, you have the changing of election laws, then you have the unresolvable malfunctions, and then this finally brings us to tier 5, where a lot of people spend their focus. It matters, but it's more difficult to prove, and it's not the only one that matters, and that's the outright voter fraud. Okay? So examples of this is where you see ballot harvesting, right? 28 states and D.C. either have no guidance on returning ballots, meaning anyone can return them, or anyone chosen by voter can return their ballot. So anyone can return their ballot. Anyone can grab the ballot, drop it off. For example, in Nevada, we've also uncovered some voter fraud there. You lived it with us. Then this was removed. Again, you have media malpractice. We investigated registered voters at fake addresses, places where the people didn't live and the people themselves may not even exist. And you can believe your lying eyes and ears. Susan Ray Emery, 1732 Yale Street, apartment 409, right about now. Well, hold on a second.
There's nothing there.
That one's even detailed. It's apartment 409. This is Susana Maria Lopez, 1009 South 17th Street. Junior Choi, you can explain to us. So what is this exactly?
Okay, so I actually took multiple pictures and videos of this one because there was no 2175. So basically, the house numbers start from 2730 and end at 2834 on that street.
And if you don't remember, we did this across multiple states, and we actually reported the findings, right? Then the registrar, I believe Clark County, updated some addresses. For example, one of the addresses we went to, updated it and changed it. Oh, maybe we had it wrong. Maybe it hadn't been updated. But we went to the new address, and this person never lived there either. And by the way, they updated them in the middle of the night when they were not supposed to. They posted on their own website, the county, we update our voter rolls one day, I believe, per month. It is this day at this time. They did it on an entirely different day at an entirely different time for a new address that also was illegitimate. And here's the issue. We can't prove all of it. We went through, I don't remember how many it was, somewhere between 10 and 20, right? Actually had to fly people across the country. We asked the registrar, okay, what happens if we're telling you that this first address was not legitimate and even the update in the dead of night on the wrong day that you popped in there is not legitimate? What can be done? We can't prove all of it, but what can be done about this one illegitimate vote? Assume for a second that I'm not lying about all of this, okay? Let's just go with me. Assume that you take 20 minutes out of your day as an official working there to maintain election integrity. You go there and you notice that Gupana doesn't live there either, as I am telling you. What's the recourse there? How do we fix it, considering that the election has already been conducted?
I'll have to check into that, but I'm not aware of a law that would allow us to do what you're asking. I'm not aware of a law that would allow us to take that sort of action, but
thank you. That's exactly my issue, along with these thousands of other votes on the rolls. I appreciate your time. Dan, thank you. I hope that you go and visit that address. Appreciate it. And so there you go. When you get through all of it, and you get to the worst case scenario, we have a country where nothing can be done about it. And then you are gaslit, where you are told this isn't happening, and if you think it's happening, or you think that we should have some kind of remedy, you must be an insurrectionist. So we've gone through this, right? You have tier number, well, we go through 1 through 5. We have media malpractice, okay? That's one right there. The weaponizing of the DOJ. Then we have the, I believe it was the changing of laws in violation of their state constitutions, changing of election laws, unfixable malfunctions, and then you have outright voter fraud. We've already experienced tiers 1 and 2 this election cycle. We've already experienced the media malpractice. We've already seen the algorithms at play, throttling Donald Trump's ads or not allowing them outright while promoting Kamala Harris ads. We've already seen the censorship. We've already seen this channel get suspended. We've already seen other conservatives be silenced. And we've certainly seen the weaponizing of the DOJ. And by the way, we've experienced that too. Remember the Nashville Manifesto? Lawsuit threat after lawsuit threat after lawsuit threat. Turns out it's all 100% legitimate. They want to delegitimize the people who are fighting for truth, for freedom, for a constitutional republic. And then in the dead of night, they say, okay, turns out we were wrong about that. The steal that will take place now, if it happens, will be 3 through 5. That means they will change laws, or they won't respect the laws. There will be problems that simply arise that cannot be fixed. And of course, yes, to some degree, there will be voter fraud. And here's the thing, we weren't allowed to discuss that in the past. No one in this country believes that there is zero voter fraud. It's just not a thing. If you ask people, there's no one in this country who believes, yeah, every single vote is legitimate. It just comes down to what degree you think it's taking place. And then it's very difficult to make that estimate because you can't prove anything. And the reason you can't prove anything, for example, you saw that last election. How many other elections would there have had to be voter fraud and someone be able to prove it for you to understand it? But the people in charge will never prove it and they'll never do anything about it. So you never know of voter fraud. You just know that it happens. Lie, cheat. 1 and 2, media malpractice, the weaponizing of the DOJ. That's lie. They're losing. Expect the cheat to be tiers 3 through 5. Let me know. What do you think is most likely? And that is why nothing will be happening in darkness, the election live stream of the century. Next Tuesday, we start at 6 p.m. Eastern. We go until this election, till it's called, till we know who the next president is, and we do need your help, we ask you to enroll at mugclubarmy.com. It's just a closed circuit mailing list where if you want to help out, be a volunteer with our investigative journalists, if you happen to be in a swing state or one of those cities, there are a lot of things that you can do. There are a lot of ways to contribute. We appreciate it. Anything I missed? Good. All right. Let's go now to some voter fraud taking place potentially in Georgia. Of course, you remember that Georgia, nothing happened there.
No.
I was going to say again, or is this?
No, nothing ever happened there. Free and fair elections. Don't ever watch Kill Chain on HBO, specifically in Georgia for the Stacey Abrams election that they said was illegitimate. But then the left and HBO buried it. If you have HBO or Max, you can go watch Kill Chain. Spell it out. Kill Chain, where it's entirely about potential voter fraud in Georgia. But don't watch it. But go search it and see what you think. But don't watch it. Okay?
Don't watch it.
So we have some exclusive footage now.
Watch it.
As it relates to Georgia, that would suggest there absolutely could have been foul play. So we just went tiers 1 through 5, but we want to focus on what it is that we can prove, or focus on at least what it is that warrants investigation. So we actually were sent some footage exclusively from a source in Georgia showing a Democratic operative making some very concerning claims about election fraud. The operative is Joel Caldwell. This person is the director of operations for Coalition for the People's Agenda. This is a career for this man. It is not a part-time job. We did do a background check on Joel, and allegedly he's had quite a few run-ins with the law. So perfect for voter organization.
Yeah.
Let's go to the first clip that we have, and we're going to be showing this to you, and you can check all of the clips by themselves, of course, on social media. First, let me set the stage. Do you remember the last national election? The media reported that a pipe had burst, and that was causing the delays in counting at Atlanta's State Farm Arena. We were live when that happened. That was the story that we were given. So they're going to stop the count. Something pipe burst.
Of all the times for a plumbing issue.
That is right, Cheryl. Early this morning, we were told there was a water main break above the room I'm standing in here at State Farm Arena. And right now they are counting the absentee ballots. But earlier today, because of that water main break, they lost about 2 hours of work on the absentee ballot processing. So they are trying to make up that time now. They currently are getting through the absentee ballots. All the ballots being processed behind me are the ballots that were received today by the 7 p.m. Fulton County deadline, or state deadline, for absentee ballots to be received.
And I do find it difficult to appear authoritative when I'm wearing a thong on my face.
Jaguar print. Yes. Aggressive.
So then, I remember, pipe burst, they're going to halt counting. But some more footage circulated showing that there were election workers who actually did go back in, unpack ballots, and they just kept counting.
11. Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off.
I'm showing this so you all remember.
Those are the plumbers, right?
The yellow are still there.
Yes.
Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple.
And by the way, if you covered this later on YouTube, you were removed. Or if you covered what was going on in Michigan with the Bristol boards boarding up the voting precinct, you would be removed. The only reason that stream of ours was not removed is because we were experiencing it just as you were in real time. So it was really hard for them to say, hey, these guys are lying. They're misleading people on voter fraud, when we were reporting in real time exactly what it was that everyone else was reporting. Here's us discussing Georgia during the biggest election stream of all time. Thank you.
What do you think? I heard Georgia had stopped counting ballots. Is this true also?
Georgia had some ballots freeze earlier today in a county which, of course, was overwhelmingly Trump.
We had Fulton County where there was, I think, a water main break at State Farm Arena.
This is also something, while we're just going through Georgia, they told poll watchers that they were done counting and they sent them home. I think we have this from Twitter. Then they continued counting in secret. Huh. So I know a lot of times you're going, wait, did I dream that? No, you did not. You did not, nor did CNN, nor did Fox News, nor did MSNBC. It happened. So this brings us to the exclusive footage. Here's more information now on that supposed leak with Caldwell, the man I told you about, claiming that it did happen. And while we don't know exactly what happened on the ground, we're interested in hearing more about this from local political activists.
Like the whole thing with the dome when they was counting,
know, that was the big thing here, was the counting of the ballots at the dome. It was all counting the ballots, and they told them that it was a leak on the opposite side of the dome. Everybody needed to evacuate. So then when they all left, the Democrats went back in and started counting, and the Republicans went back to the headquarters. They didn't know.
You know that for a fact?
That's what happened. Yeah.
They made it seem like nothing like they legitimately had leak issues.
Yeah, so they had said it was leak issues. So you see them on the video putting everything up, and they left. No, they did. They put someone putting stuff up, and then you see them leave. Then they was out in the parking lot when I guess they told them they could come back in. Or they was out in the parking lot and they was gonna go back to headquarters. And so the Republicans left, the Republican watchers, they all left. And so after they left, the Democrats went back in there and started counting. So that's the videotape. You see them when they're walking back in, pulling the shit out from underneath the tables, and during that hour. And then the other part was that when they were counting, I think during that hour, that stretch of that, it was only like less than 100 votes was counted for Trump. And just statistically, you're downtown, there's going to be more than 100 votes for Trump.
Again, there's more footage that you can watch on X or, of course, on Mug Club. We did speak, by the way, with former Senator and the current Georgia GOP Chairman, Josh McCoon. His team is putting us in touch with some staffers from 2020 who can hopefully illuminate this a little bit more and provide further testimony on exactly what happened. Again, we just went through everything, 5 different tiers, the ones we can prove, and this raises a whole lot of questions.
Yeah.
But we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where no one wants to verify whether what this person is saying is correct. Okay, this brings us to the next clip. And in this one, Mr. Caldwell describes the methodology that Democrats use to collect ballots and to stuff ballot boxes. Now, I hear people use this term quite a bit, stuffing ballot boxes, and some people go, that doesn't sound so bad. It just means someone's cramming it in the box. I guess they could do it less aggressively.
Yeah.
Let me read you the definition, okay? Ballot stuffing is when a greater number of ballots are cast than the number of people who legitimately voted. The term refers generally to the act of casting illegal votes or submitting more than one ballot per voter when only one ballot per voter is permitted. That's what we are discussing. This is relevant because the Georgia Code, I can read this to you, 21-25474 prohibits the unlawful possession of ballots. It's actually a felony. And another code prohibits counterfeit ballots. That's a felony. Another code punishes the unlawful removal of ballots. That's a misdemeanor, which seems odd. Georgia Code also imposes duties on poll officers not to interfere with elections, engage in fraud, tamper, etc. I'm reading from the Georgia Code. And it is a felony punishable up to 10 years with a fine of $100,000. Okay, so that seems pretty cut and dry. Let's talk about ballot harvesting and stuffing. Well, actually, let's let Mr. Caldwell discuss it.
That's what happened in 2020, because that's when the ballots, and they started stuffing them ballots, and people stuffing them ballots, and they got videotape of it. But nobody talks about it. Because they want it. That's why Trump been making that big deal about it, because you see it on videotape. It's like, come on. We see the man pull up and put 100 ballots in his box. You can't do that shit. So Bruce is paying people to do just that, drop off ballots, go around, collect ballots, collect absentee ballots, drop them off.
How did that even
work?
So if you're paying someone, I'm not trying to do this, trust me, but if you're a group and you're paying someone to pick up the absentee ballots, do people take their absentee ballots to the orgs and then the orgs distribute the pay? That's confusing. It doesn't make sense.
No, it's like, let's say you're my canvasser. I tell you to go around and pick up these absentee ballots from this area. You go pick them all up and drop them off in the box. No different. I pay you every week like the canvasser. You just get paid like the canvasser. You're on the clock for however many hours, driving around, picking up absentee ballots and putting them in ballot boxes.
What information do you need to actually know that these are certain areas that have a lot of absentee ballots?
When that's the case, you would just have to have, you would either have to reach it, like if some groups was reaching out to the folks beforehand, so they were passing them out to other people and then coming back and getting them all. Going down to a senior house, give everybody a ballot and come back and collect all their ballots and turn it in on them. And then you take the ballots and then drop them off.
And then the groups would have whoever, the canvassers go and pick them up and then take them straight.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's the illegal part. So think about it like this: if we're going to steal an election, let's say Georgia, this is the perfect example. We're going to steal an election here. You're not going to go to the outside of the Democratic Party, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to go outside of Atlanta or outside the metro Atlanta and change the numbers in the Republican counties, right? Because that shit would just be too obvious. Change the numbers in your home. You can fluctuate these numbers because it'll just look the same.
It makes more sense to do it in Atlanta.
It hides better. So like if somebody's coming behind you and saying, well, you know, you've been stealing votes, the first place they're gonna look is in the outline counts where it's red. Don't change those numbers, right? Because then it'll flip that county that's always been red to blue.
Which
right?
will raise the flag.
Which will raise that flag.
Okay.
If you come here to the city where it's already 1.5 million voters, and then you just increase the numbers of your already places that you want. So you want to inflate the numbers that you already have versus trying to go to a red area and inflate those numbers, because that would just obviously look wild, you know?
That seems pretty concerning. Finally, we have another clip of Mr. Caldwell giving sort of an example of quote-unquote election rigging. Now, to be clear, it's not like the DOJ story or Jay Varma. We don't know the authenticity of these claims specifically from Caldwell. But is it reasonable, and is it certainly worthy of discussion, and a discussion that isn't banned from social media, if we are concerned about what political operatives on the ground are reporting in Georgia and saying themselves?
So you need to start planning 4 years in advance.
You're trying to steal an election. Yeah, because you got to get a lot.
Dude, it makes sense, because after 2016,
you got to pay a
people
lot.
mad.
You got to pay a lot of people to get in the pockets. You know, a lot of people, people that you got to get in position. You got to get, everybody got to get a piece somewhere. Everybody got to get paid. Canvassers, ballot counters, people who run the job boxes, election officials. We got all of that on somebody's payroll, or a kickback or something somewhere.
So we've always fought back against the media malpractice. That, to me, is the most important when we're talking about the stealing of a nation. And we will be fighting back on that on election night as well. It still is the most important. And even at that point, when the votes are being cast, they want to, meaning legacy media, ABC, NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, add them all up, even Fox News. They want to be able to craft the narrative and determine what is permissible to discuss after that. That's why the media malpractice still matters. But we are now on to this point where we're fighting those other tiers, the actual potential voter fraud, the actual election interference through these laws. And we also are fighting this, trying to hopefully help educate you. We want you to know the voting laws in your states. That's very important. That's a part of what we are doing here. We have thousands of people in Mug Club Army, and here to discuss that more. And also, we're making an announcement. The founder of True the Vote, Catherine Engelbrecht, is here to explain what her organization does and how we will be working together with you, the Mug Club Army, on election night. Let's bring on Miss Engelbrecht. Catherine, I know you were having problems with your phone earlier today. Can you hear me and see me? Oh, hold on a second. We're waiting to get your audio. One moment. I know there were some technical difficulties earlier today. 1 second, Catherine. All right. Hold on. We're checking on this. This is the problem when you have to deal with Cricket, as I understand it, or Mint. That Ryan Reynolds is full of crap, man. All right. 1 moment. Let's get her back on the line. We'll go right back to you once we get this working, Catherine.
Let me just say, kind of on. I know while they're working on this, all of the stuff that we just played, right? All of those clips, all of the conversations that were happening there. One, it seemed like this should probably have already been looked into.
Mm-hmm.
Not how we were told basically that none of this actually happened and that we had a problem with Donald Trump making a phone call down to Raffensperger. And look, it should have already been looked into. Like, he was talking about it so kind of brazenly. And I'm not going to get into the veracity of his claims. That's what I'm actually saying. We need somebody to go and say, is what he said true?
Yeah.
Is it happening like that?
And what they're preparing to do right now is saying, and if Kamala Harris wins this election, it's going to be civil unrest because we know that the Trump supporters, well, the reason why they're saying that is because they want to make it seem as though someone is an extremist if they simply say, wait a second, this is not on the up and up.
Yeah.
They want you to not be able to question the results. We just gave you the examples with Nevada, right? You saw what happened even in Michigan. We gave you a bunch of examples. The issue is they don't want you to be able to say anything, and they want the whole world to think that you're crazy and an insurrectionist.
Yeah.
If you say, wait a second, hold on a second, no voter ID? Wait a second, how did this switch happen? Wait a second. What's the oversight going on with these elections? Do not allow them to do that to you.
Yeah, and no proof of citizenship, too. I mean, that was one of the big things because they're like, okay, we'll get around the voter ID thing, kind of like Tim Walz wants to get around the voter ID thing. If you're here in this country illegally, you get a license. After a year, you get registered to vote automatically.
Right.
That was his plan. I think there was something like 80,000 illegal immigrants in his state. And it's like, why would you put something like that in place? Why would you go after people questioning the legitimacy of our election process? Not to undermine it, to make sure that it is foolproof, that people cannot rig it, that people cannot cheat. Shouldn't everybody be on board for that?
Right.
It seems like a pretty simple ask.
And for those of you who have not been in the know, actually, let's run that video, the election live stream of the century, Tuesday, November 5th. It starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to try and get Miss Engelbrecht here on the line. Here we go.
To every citizen who's sick and tired of the parasitic political class in Washington that sucks our country of its blood and treasure.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden? There is not a thing that comes to mind.
November 5th will be your Liberation Day. November 5th this year will be the most important day in the history of our country because we're not going to have a country anymore if we don't win.
Between now and election, it's a sprint. It's a sprint for the spirit of this country and your ability to choose what you watch, who you support, and the mere ability to speak. The left is constantly engaged in foul play, but their first choice would be to not have to cheat, right? To do it with lies by omission, by using media bias, by throttling searches, right? By flat out censoring searches, as we've seen from Google and YouTube, as we've seen with Facebook and Meta in the past. It's lie, 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 cheat.
We all know who Donald Trump is.
He will be a dictator on day one.
Dictatorship.
Nazi imagery. Adolf Hitler.
Oh, Hitler.
As I was saying,
and that's why we are gearing up for the election live stream of the century. November 5th, we'll have the live electoral integrity map. No one will have the data that we have on that night to call, dispute states, and let you know everything that is going on across this country. If there is any foul play whatsoever, there's no reason to tune in anywhere else that night. The election live stream of the century.
November 5th this year will be the most important day in the history of our country. And we will make America great again.
The election live stream of the century, November 5th, 2024. Be there with us. Fight like hell. Boy, sounds like a damn monster. Yeah. Let's bring her back on. Try this one more time. I believe now we have amped mobile, so we're doing well. Catherine Engelbrecht. All right, and everyone out there, you can follow True the Vote on X. Catherine, one more time. Are you there? Can you hear us now?
I can, yes. Can you hear me?
I can. Clear as a bell. Woo-hoo. Wonderful. I was hoping that you would come in with like a really odd voice, like a mannish voice. Like, do you like surprises? So, no, it fits. Let me ask you, Catherine, first, what do you make of the content that you just saw with Mr. Caldwell?
It totally lines up with what we saw coming out of 2020 and what we did our level best to get the state to investigate. And that didn't happen. But nothing that I heard surprises me. It's exactly what we saw on the ground and what we spent the following year researching. But the good news is that there are a lot of changes that have occurred in Georgia law that will prevent some of this from being repeated in 2024.
Well, so I have two questions then. First off, if you knew anything specifically about the Coalition for the People's Agenda, where that man worked. And number two, please tell us what has changed, because I think a lot of people in Georgia right now need some confidence instilled in them.
Right. Well, so the Coalition for People's Agenda is a very well-established organization, has its headquarters, as nearly as we can tell, in the Georgia area, particularly in Atlanta, but then they are throughout the southern states. And where they are located is the address they share is one shared by many unions, also by the New Georgia Project, and interestingly by the Democrat Party of Georgia. So they are location. They
Yes.
are very well established.
Yes, there's a lot of curb appeal for criminals.
Alleged.
That's it. But then, when you look at what happened coming out of 2020, Georgia was replete with drop boxes, and there were changes in the ways in which you could cast ballots that really led to these kind of vulnerabilities that could have been easily exploited and were, in our opinion, easily exploited. Some big changes. There are no more exterior drop boxes in Georgia. There are still drop boxes on the interior of buildings. But what we saw in our research was that the exploitation occurred on those drop boxes on the outside, the ballot stuffing and so forth that was alluded to could have easily happened, and based on what we saw did happen in those exterior drop boxes. Those are no longer in the state. Additionally, in mail-in ballots, you now have to submit ID along with that mail-in ballot, which wasn't the case in 2020. So the bar has been set higher. I mean, cheaters are going to cheat. Bad actors can always find a way. But those standards have changed a lot. The biggest thing, though, I will tell you, Stephen, that's different is now you have the eyes of America watching. Wasn't the case in 2020. But America's not going to be fooled again, and Georgians are not going to be fooled again. And you've got people working at all ends of the election process to prevent that kind of exploitation.
Well, we really are. We're doing our level best. And I know that obviously you are. Can you explain to people, because Gerald was telling me I can make the announcement that you guys have some major plans for election night and combining forces with the thousands in the Mug Club Army. Gerald, make sure.
Well, it's a big deal, right? Because the Mug Club Army that we've set up is essentially going out there and making sure that people can tell us what's happening real time, right?
Along with our investigative journalists.
Along with an investigative journalist to be able to go and look into stuff in different swing states. And so being able to partner with you guys and kind of the operation that you have really just supercharges that completely. So it's a huge deal to be able to partner with you guys. But I wanted the audience to hear what you guys plan on doing for election night, and then we'll talk about kind of how we're working together as well.
Sure thing. Well, so we've launched an app called Vote Alert, and you can check that out at votealert.org. And we have now, I think, over 10,000 users that are election workers specifically, but also it supports voters to also report in real time. And we've got teams that are categorizing what's coming in. And a lot of times we just get questions that we turn those questions around very quickly. But if you are reporting, you can attach anything you want to the app. We're taking it in and creating an archive and then posting that out along social media and with Mug Club as well now.
Yes.
So we're thrilled about the opportunity, and this is all about people keeping their eyes open, reporting what they see, and observation changes things. So we're excited about the possibilities.
Yes. Well, I know you guys have infrastructure that you've been working on for a very, very long time. And we have, the best team in the business to keep media accountable, that media malpractice. So being able to also sort of act as a sieve, because there's misinformation on all sides on election night, where maybe someone doesn't realize, they have fat fingers and they checked the wrong box. Being able to go through all the people you have, as well as what we have on air, so that people know when we start discussing it that night, that it is legitimate. I mean, this is what you have devoted years of your life to. And hopefully you guys have a lot of coffee and you're ready, and no pipe, hopefully no pipes burst. You remember that? That was one talk about gaslighting where everyone was told, no, it actually, no one said they were going to stop counting ballots. I'm like, wait a second. I feel like I remember, and no one said it had anything to do with a pipe bursting. I'm like, did I dream that? They do that so effectively, don't they?
Absolutely, yes. And, it was one of the harshest lessons for me coming out of 2020 was I'd never really been in a position to just have lies just spewed in such a way that it just felt so surreal. Like, of course, that's not what's really happening. You can see with your own eyes what's really happening, but this dissonance that had taken hold. But America is awake. and we're not going to fall for it again. And we are vigilant. So I'm really excited about what's going to be happening over these next 9 days, and certainly on Election Day. I'm very encouraged. I'm very optimistic because, sometimes we take a while to get our boots on, but once America wakes up, we're gonna hold the line.
Yes, and it's very hard for me to get my boots on because I have a triple E wide foot, so I have to get them semi-custom, and it doesn't make it through that arch portion. I have Fred Flintstone feet, but the analogy remains. It is True the Vote. I know people can follow you on X, but where's the best place for people to go and support you as far as the main portal?
Main portal is truethevote.org. You can find us at True the Vote on any social media platform. And then the votealert.org is an app that's folded into our site, but you can also check that out, votealert.org. And then, of course, we're going to be working closely together over the coming days and on Election Day particularly. So we're just excited about the enforced multipliers.
And one final question for you. We've been doing this here in the studio. What's your long shot call? Your long bet, your dark horse? Not one of the swing states that looks like he's going, like obviously Georgia, North Carolina, but New Hampshire, Virginia. If you have to bet on one, and Gerald will have to take place he'll have to take part in a shame stunt if you lose, not yourself.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm feeling. I mean, some of the states that are close, the Michigan, Nevada. I think good things are happening.
Yeah. Okay. So if Donald Trump loses Nevada, we will have Gerald do something heinous that cannot be broadcast as tribute. Fair. And by the way, we were trying to get someone with an organization just as big as yours in Michigan, but turns out they're dead. They died under completely non-suspicious circumstances last night. So, keep your head in a swivel. Catherine Engelbrecht, we really appreciate it, and looking forward to talking with you more on election night.
Thanks so much.
All right, Catherine Engelbrecht, everybody. Ooh, we also have a fact check on Kamala HQ. I forgot about that. Is there anything else that I missed?
No, you were good. I think that's, again, so what they're doing is covering stuff, and they're going to take that and feed it directly to us on election night. So essentially, we'll say, hey, guys, we've got something from True the Vote. So they've got eyes and ears on the ground just like we do. So it's a huge get for us to kind of double to triple the size of the army of people on the ground going around looking.
And there are a lot of people doing some work with that, but we're the only place where we actually have people, investigative journalists there in those cities who can also call in and report. Because it's tough. Look, you don't want a bunch of people. I can't tell you how many people just send in chats where they go, oh, this is happening, voter fraud. And it's like, no, actually, you moved addresses and you didn't update it. So we have the ability to make sure that we're not wasting your time with that.
It's vetted.
Yeah.
Right.
That it's vetted.
We have a lot of lawyers that are going to be here on election night.
So many lawyers.
So many lawyers.
I look at all the costs for lawyers and this company, I go, that could be going to me.
That could.
But instead,
it's lawyers.
Goes to someone with a lot of vowels in their last name. Here we go. We have this from Kamala HQ. This time they claimed that a speaker at Trump's rally advocated the slaughtering of Americans. This is Kamala HQ. It says, Trump rally speaker on Americans who don't support Trump. We need to slaughter these people. Well, hold on a second. This is happening here live. We have the actual clip. Let's see if you guys notice something.
This election has to be more than a victory. It needs to be a landslide.